Now the auxiliary gate.
You're listening to the Auxiliary Gate Podcast, Kentucky's weekly horse racing discussion. And now, here are your hosts, Alan Schneider.
And then the very next day, there's a $25,000 carryover at bumfuck down somewhere.
Geoff Riggs.
Yeah, all I heard was he was having a quote-unquote handyman coming over tonight, so I wasn't going to ask any questions.
And me, CC Broaddus.
Me, for somebody that can't spell or write, a 26 was impressive. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Episode 246 of the Auxiliary Gate Podcast is on the air. July 14th, 2026. We did take a bit of a respite, but we are back, and stats say that we have a positive ROI off a 30-day or more layoff. I'm CC Broaddus, but that's not important right now. What is important is my friends, newly housed Alan Schneider is here.
Hello. Good to be here. I'm trying to work through this situation here, but I think I got a decent setup here. But yes, good to be here.
I got a house story I want to tell here
Okay.
momentarily. Also with us, Geoff Riggs, the face of Ellis Park, or perhaps the beard of Ellis Park.
I'll take the beard of Ellis Park, that's for sure. I'll take that for sure. Ellis has been great so far, and yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the meet for sure. I'm glad you're no longer homeless, Alan, as well.
Thank you. Yeah, we're happy here. Should mention, CC, before we get started, Geoff absolutely clocked Ellis Park last week, right? We're talking a 5-figure hit. We won't go into too much, but that pick 5 carryover the other day, the Bearded Wonder knocked that out, right, sir?
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a nice one for sure. I loved For the Win in the last race and singled that one, got bet down, got the job done. The big kind of separator in there was Lucy McGee, who beat Micaiah, who I got a little bit fortunate there because Micaiah was definitely the best horse in the race, kind of got stopped and then got rolling late and galloped out a mile in front. So we were talking a little bit off air about that one, but watch out for that one coming back at Kentucky Downs for sure.
Oh, that you can load up on that one. Mackay would have been wonderful for me, but it's okay because Geoff clocked him a little 5-fold with that, so it worked out well. And yeah, Mackay at Kentucky Downs. If everything all goes well, you can play that bad boy at 6.5.
All right, let me tell my home purchase story.
Awesome.
From 2000, I think it was 2011 or 12. I bought this house. It was a foreclosure. I gave $62,000 for it. Closed on a Friday afternoon. And I went to the house just to check on it that night, just make sure everything's all right. It had a funky door handle. Like the handle wouldn't deadbolt. Or excuse me, the knob wouldn't, if you twist the knob, it wouldn't work. But it was just a pain in the ass to get open. I just said, screw it. I'll work on it tomorrow. I was going to come back after work the next day, Saturday, and start cleaning the house. Everything's cool. Go to work. I got off at 12 on that Saturday. Went to the house, opened the door. There was just this awful smell in the house.
Oh, Lord. Oh, no.
Like, what is this? And I'm like, something's died underneath the house. I could just envision a raccoon or a dog or something that snuck under the house and got trapped or whatever and just died. So I started walking through each room. Went to the kitchen, went to the bedrooms, bathroom, walked to the other side. I didn't find anything. Walked to the other side of the house, went to the bedroom. There's another bathroom on the far side of the house. And laying in the bathtub, in just a perfect, like a V, was this giant human turd.
What?
Somebody had got into the house overnight and just laid it out. It was a man-sized turd too. It was a monster.
I thought this was going. This
This
is not
you
where I
could
thought to
have
start.
given me a lot of guesses before I got to human excrement.
They just laid it out. It was almost a work of art. It was just beautiful. Like it was just kind of up and down. You know, it was like a chevron, like a I don't know how else to describe it, but you know what they look like. But to this day, I can still smell that stench in the air. I hated that house because of that.
Yeah,
Like I sold the house within probably, I think I kept it 1 year and I put it on the market. And I never did. Nobody owned up to it. I don't know. I could see it going either way. It was either a crime of passion or it could have been a hate crime.
Mm.
Somebody that loved me or somebody that hated me.
gotcha.
Or
So
both.
it could have been both.
I thought you were going the way of dead human body, to be
No,
honest with you. But
no, it was worse. It was
Yeah,
worse.
when he said human and paused, I leaned forward a little bit. It's like it's one of those crime drama podcasts going on.
Well, to me, it was a crime.
Yeah.
but
I think this was wrong.
yeah,
I mean,
we
it was
haven't
a
had anything like
threat, if
that.
nothing else.
We haven't had anything like that here, so I'm very
Yeah.
fortunate in that regard.
That's worse than your house being haunted.
I would say
Oh, it
so.
haunted me. It haunted me. I smelled it
Exactly.
every single day when I come home and walked into that house. I smelled it,
Hmm.
even though if it wasn't there or not, I don't know. But it was just, yeah. And I never got it. I never used that bathroom ever. Just, yeah.
Wow,
Man.
interesting.
I sold the house. I made a profit on the house. I flipped that son bitch.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. I flipped it. That's when money was money back then. But
Yeah,
anyway, since we last convened, we've lost TVG, we've lost Aqueduct, and we're soon to lose Hawthorne Racetrack in Chicago. Uh, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna miss any of them,
oh
and
wow,
that's
that's bold. Yeah, well, you probably know how I feel, but keep going, keep going.
well, I did. I never bet Aqueduct,
Mhm.
uh, and I just don't watch TVG, and I never bet Hawthorne because it's just 5 horse fields, 6 horse fields.
Hmm.
Just never did. Even back when I was younger, I just never paid attention to Hawthorne. TVG was a little different. TVG, I used to watch all the time because that was the only way you could
Yes.
watch. It's the only way you could watch racing. You know,
Mhm.
that was pre-internet, pre-streaming. I guess you could say not pre-internet, but pre-streaming. And you know, my biggest problem with TVG is they'd cut away from a race to
100.
show, or not cut away from a race, but they'd cut away from like a
Ellis
pre-start
Park. Yeah.
to show a post parade somewhere else at
Yes.
some other track. And I hated
Yeah.
that. Hated that. So I mean, I prefer to watch the feed, the racetrack feed, because if you know if I'm following Ellis Park, I don't care about a post parade at Woodbine. Just
Yeah.
that's and I don't have any problem with the people that were on the network. I mean, they were all fine. They're very talented. I think there's room for something new now. I mean, there's YouTube. You can utilize YouTube,
Yeah.
but I don't know. What are you guys' opinions on any of that?
So Hawthorne, I just saw the news with Hawthorne. It's sad. I figured it was coming. Unfortunately, I always thought it had its place, and a major metropolis like Chicago, it's a shame that it's in the racing there at all. It's because they used to have Sportsman's Park there too, right? And some other racing even before my time. So that's kind of the end of an era. It used to be big. These are the Hawthorne Gold Cup. They used to have some big race. Hawthorne, the Illinois Derby was run there, right? So there's a lot of there's some history there and stuff. So it's a shame. I've driven by it. I've never been, but anytime people lose their job, it's not good, right? I mean, I'm all like I say all the time. If I didn't bet another horse the rest of my life, I wouldn't care. I don't. I want to see my friends and the people who work in the industry keep their jobs and keep their livelihood. So that's very sad. Um, Aqueduct, I never played, but again, if you're from New York and that's your thing, I'm sure it is. It's tough losing that, but it's no skin off my nose. But again, people losing their jobs, I'm never going to celebrate. And then TVG, I don't like TVG. I think like Ashley Mayhew's on there. I think she is amazing. She's awesome. But like you said, we're older, and here in Louisville, we got ODS. TVG was instituted here in Louisville 20 something years ago. It used to be called ODS. You had a little yellow wand that you use to click your TV. It's very, very basic. And it was novel. It was novel at the time. I don't think they ever really moved forward, to be honest with you. It was the same stuff over and over and over again. And as you probably know, the whole pick four tickets they gave out that really burned me. I think that did more harm than good. But like I said, the people are talented. I never want to see anybody lose their job. So I like your point that I do think there's room for something to come along that's better and maybe a little more forward thinking. And let's hope that occurs or whatever. But yeah, I'd forgotten that stuff had happened. It's been so long since we convened.
Yeah, I agree with both your all sentiments on that. I do think that there is something to be said for just the racing industry as a whole, how we kind of just how tenuous it is. Like, even if it's not something you watch every day or whatever, I still think it's a negative sign
Oh yeah,
overall. Like, it's just like it's kind of ominous. But and yeah, like you said, there's a lot of people at TVG FanDuel who I know who are good people and work hard and do a good
yeah,
job. So it's sad for them. And I know horsemen at both of those tracks as well are gonna be looking for something else, which is brutal for everybody. But I mean, I agree. It's not like I was an avid TVG watcher. I didn't hardly play Hawthorne ever, but I do know a lot of Chicago people who really are connected to Hawthorne. And
yeah,
Alan, you mentioned it, how there's not really major racing in Chicago now. It's one of the biggest metropolises in the nation. So talking about opportunities, definitely I think CC's onto something with the YouTube thing, something a little more forward thinking, and then also an opportunity in Chicago. Like we gotta have something in Chicago, right?
yeah. I would think so. Back to CC's point too. One of the things that really used to really burn me about, and of course I know they're based in California. They have their exclusive tracks with blah blah, but it used to burn my ass. I mean, burn my ass when I'd be wanting to watch a race at Ellis because I like Ellis or I like turf, and
Yeah.
they cut away to a four horse crap field in the first race with 2 to 5, 5 to 2, and give me a price and like just the same crap over. And you'd watch the Ellis race 45 minutes later. This is before we had, the kind of the fancy before Twin Spires came along. We had the fancy videos and stuff. But I wanted to echo CC's point on that used to drive me nuts. So, but again, they were pioneers at the time, but I feel like it got a little stale to me.
I think there could be a positive to all this, all these racetracks closing, because you're getting the people that don't want to be in the business out,
Mhm.
uh, and the people that don't know how to run a racetrack. You're getting them out. I mean, FanDuel the TVG turned a profit. Otherwise, FanDuel wouldn't have bought them. I'm sure. And this is just a corporate move to cut costs. I'm sure they're trying
Yeah,
to make their shareholders
Yeah,
happy.
sure.
Uh, Aqueduct is run by Naira. I think we learned on the weekend Naira is not very good at what they do, but that's a whole different show. We'll talk about that later. Uh, Hawthorne is just it's really an eyesore, right? It's not much to look at. The whole industry in Illinois is not what it used to be. There's no Illinois breds anymore. That's kind of gone by the wayside. Fairmount became the has become the marquee track in the state down in southern Illinois.
who'd have thought that?
Mhm.
Right.
I forget about Fairmont, but yeah, I don't know if I know enough to speak about it. I never but I think if I lived near Hawthorne, it's probably a place that I probably would have liked back in the day. I probably would have liked it quite a bit. The whole eyesore thing wouldn't bother me as much if it was. I don't know if it is or not. To be honest with you, I should be commenting on that because Turfway was an eyesore for a while, and I
Yeah.
loved it. So,
It was in a bad part of town. Let's just put it
okay,
that way.
yeah,
Mhm.
But the point of all this, uh, racing has an opportunity, and I'm certain they will not take it. If you watched Saratoga opening day, midway through the card, there was a four-horse spill, and one of the horses involved in the spill was owned by David Portnoy. Now, personally, I think I'm a Portnoy fan. I think I like him. I don't follow Barstool Sports very often. I mean, I know they got some guys there I like. Brandon Walker, Brandon something.
Yep, yep.
I like him,
Hmm.
and I mean, there's a couple others that I like, but I don't know a whole lot about him. But I do like Portnoy. I like his pizza reviews more than anything. But I know he's passionate about horse racing. He loves horse racing. I mean, he loves it. But Portnoy put out a video with him standing beside his horse after the race, just when he wanted everybody to know that the horse was okay. Uh, I didn't see any other owners going back there doing anything like that.
Great
So
point.
the guy's passionate about the sport, and he's got a lot of followers. People love him. They love they. I like him. Other people love him, and there's your opportunity, Jockey
Yeah.
Club, that you're sitting on your $120 million in the bank account. Do something with that money. Maybe get Portnoy on board somehow. They probably need more of him because I mean the guy loves to gamble. And he loves to own horses, and yeah, he's. I mean, he would bring thousands upon thousands of eyeballs more to the sport, other than that, rather than that Griffin Johnson fella. That
I like Griffin Johnson. I think it's a bad rap. I was like,
well,
he's
you attractive people like to stick together.
good.
I'm more of a common man, and Portnoy represents me. Griffin Johnson represents you.
Yeah. I'm wearing my shorts on right now that I think I've had for 11 years.
Who represents Geoff? Orson
Oh,
Welles.
Orson Welles. That's a good one. That's a little bit of a dated reference, but yes, that's a good one. The
Dan
basis for
Bilzerian.
the basis for ZZ Top, I don't know.
All right, that's
I'll take
enough.
any of those. I will say though, I don't have anything against Griffin either, but as far as like transferable audiences, Dave is a gold mine for horse racing because all of his followers already are gamblers. You know what I mean? Like that's
Hmm.
not Griffin's thing at all.
Yeah.
So like it just seems like a much easier transfer into a customer for the guys that follow him, and just in my mind.
All right, we have a special guest. Alan will do the honors.
Thank you, CC. So it's no secret. We are unapologetically big fans of the multiple stakes winning gelding Doncho. And of course, his trainer, Michelle Lovell, we're big fans of as well, too. But it's also no surprise that he's better than ever in 2026. And a big part of that success is tonight's guest, one of his exercise rider, Erica Herrforth Rushlow. She joins us tonight to talk about the world record holder, because he is still a world record holder, as well as her own career, both current and what she might have going forward. Erica, how's it going tonight?
Oh, it's going great. Happy to be here. How is everybody?
Oh, fantastic. I can't complain. I can't speak for these guys. I know as much money Jess made the other day, I know he's not complaining either. So
We can complain, but we're not going to, Alan.
you got it. Where are you calling us from tonight, there, Erica?
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky.
Do you like living here? I mean, I know
I
you're from Ohio, right? I think it's where you're born. Is that correct?
yeah. I'm from like 3 hours east of here.
And you like
So
living here? You like living here?
I do. Louisville's been one of my favorite places that I've lived in, and I mean, as far as being in the U.S., um, as far as racing culture, the people here are nice, and so really, it's been good to me here.
To say that we'll talk about it here in a little while, but to say that you officially planted your feet now, so you're here for a while. So I'm glad that you like it. Before we get into Mr. Doncho, the multi-surface equine rocket, who has a lot more wins to rack up this year, let's get folks up to date on you a little bit, okay? Give us a rundown of what you've been up to the last few years since you have settled here in the bluegrass. I know off the top of my head, I can think of one really big thing for you that happened last year that resulted in a name change. But give us a rundown of what the last few years have been for you.
So, I moved here permanently about 3.5 years ago, which is about the same time that I started working for Michelle permanently. I've worked for Michelle for 3.5 years now, and it's been phenomenal. I started dating my now husband, and then we bought a house like within that first year, and we've established ourselves pretty well here. And, since then, it's just we work, and we got married in April of last year. So, woo woo.
Yeah,
Heck
congratulations.
yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, so I really, really like it here. And I've loved working for Michelle. It's been an experience, and I wouldn't want to work for anything else. And I know later in the show, we're going to talk about what my future plans are. But um, part of the thing is like I really would not work for anybody else other than Michelle.
Yeah,
And
she is. She's fantastic. I mean, she's
she has made the last 3 years like some of my favorite times in the racing industry by far.
Well,
She's made it for me.
and we know she's going to listen to this, so maybe this will make her tear up a little bit. See if we can make her cry. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah. Listen, we make each other laugh all the time. And like we go through all of the emotions. So
It'll happen. It'll happen. You got married in Vegas, right? I remember seeing the pictures. They were amazing.
we did get married in Vegas. It was a lot of fun. We just wanted something small and racehorse people, we have a really hard time if we are in town, we will work. So
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
order for me to not work on my wedding day, we decided to, get out of town and, we still had the reception here at the Kentucky Derby Museum, which if you guys have not had any events in that museum, you should because it is amazing. They have incredible staff. They're very thorough. It's awesome. But I worked the morning of our reception. So
Oh, well, I would say when my daughter gets married that maybe I'll keep that in mind, but that might be a little beyond my budget, but we'll see. Maybe I can get a podcast discount or something. I'll consider it, okay?
it's always a good place to check out because they're top tier and you have options. So it
Hmm.
was really good. And the
You,
food was amazing.
I can imagine. For someone, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Yeah, you're young enough where I can ask that question. 20 years, you may not want me asking that question, but for someone fairly young, and 32 is fairly young, because especially when you consider how old I am, you're quite the world traveler up to this point, right? And it's all due to the sport. Like I said, Kentucky's your home now, but for those that don't know, tell us a little bit about this globe trotting trek that got you to Kentucky.
So it all started with me wanting to be in the racehorse industry in general. I went to the North American Racing Academy through Bluegrass Community and Technical College, which originally was known as the Chris McCarron Jockey School. So when I went through, it was the North American Racing Academy, and they always talked about overseas opportunities. And that is something that always perked my ears. So I went through this school, graduated 2 years later. I rode in the United States for less than a year, and then I moved to Australia. And Australia was incredible. I learned a lot of my riding style is Australian. Um, just because I was there for 2 years and it was a staple in my learning because I'd only spent, less than a year in the US learning it. And then I went over there and I just, I had to adapt. So I learned new writing styles and it was incredible. It's funny that we talk about a sprinter in Doncho because I worked with a lot of sprinters over there. Sprinters, especially turf sprinters, are really, really popular in Australia. So,
It's
I
foreshadowing. It's foreshadowing, right?
it was foreshadowing. Yeah, it was great. And whenever you get the feel of a good one, you can tell they move quite similarly. So I got stuck in Australia. I wasn't meant to stay 2 years. I was only meant to stay 6 months, and COVID happened. I wasn't sure what the racing industry was going to do in the US at that point, but I knew that the racing industry in Australia was not going to shut down. So I decided to stay and work in Australia and extend my visa. And I learned a lot there. In Australia, you ride, you take horses to the races, you groom. So I was all of the jobs, and it really, really helped me develop into, an assistant trainer type of individual where I could do it all and really helped me progress in my career. After that, I came back. And I should mention this because he was a huge part of a
Hmm.
lot of my success is Joe Sharp. I rode for Joe Sharp coming out of the school. He was my initial introduction to the school or into the racing industry, sorry, after school. And then he allowed me to come back and work for him for a 3 month stint while I waited for my visa for England. And then from there, I went to England and I rode there for 4 months during the winter, which, you know, in England, they don't really race a lot. They have some synthetic racing over there close to, they have a track near Wales, I do believe, that I went to during their winter racing. But for the most part, they, you know, they take it easy and they work on developing their babies during the winter. So I rode a lot of babies. And then about February of I do believe it was 2022, I called Joe again and said, "Hey, I really, really want to try this jockey thing." And so he was like, "You know what? If you come back, work for me for Keeneland, I'll help you get your gate card and we'll try to get you, you know, going." And that's how I ended up, you know, having my jockey career.
And you went on your first horse. You went on your first horse, right?
I did. I won on my very first mount at Churchill. Yeah.
Carry On. Is that the name of the horse?
It sure was. Carry On, yeah. And you know, it was a kind of a full circle sad moment too, because we had a really bad tragedy hit earlier that
Yeah.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the barn, and it was kind of one of those like we succeeded, and I was in the same shoes as Callie was, bless her heart. Like I was in those shoes. I came out of the school too, just like her. She was doing, you know, having the same goals as me. And it's just proof that it really can happen to anybody. But it's just something uplifting in that time that all of us really, really needed to happen.
Of course.
And it was overall an experience that I will never forget. It's by far one of the best days of my life that day.
Yeah. So it all brought you to this or whatever, and it's amazing how things come full circle, right? And you continue to progress, and you go from Carry On to getting on the back of this guy named Doncho, right? And
Yeah.
you've been on. I don't know you because of your profession. You've been on many, many horses. Some good, some bad. Is he the best one you've been on? And I mean, you know,
By far.
is he really by far? Because I was like, oh, there could be some other ones, but
I
he's.
mean, if you think about it, like there's horses that are going to be easier to ride. There's horses that, you know, may travel like differently, but as far as how he moves and just his personality and he's by far the best horse I've ever been on.
Yeah, I know for you, he just hits different, right? He just hits different.
He does just hit different. And you know, he can be hard and he can be silly and he can throw some shapes. But that horse has never ever given me a inkling of I'm going to take advantage of you. He's doing it like like he's not common in any way. He's very professional and he just feels good, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like he's just very professional and I love him to death.
Yeah, I remember this specifically, these conversations I had last year, with both you and Michelle. And I talked to you guys separately. You guys weren't together when I brought this up. And if I could sum up both conversations, it's the overall vibe between both of you was you ain't seen nothing yet. This was during his 4-year-old year. He's 5 now. What changed between 3 and 4 to make you guys feel that way? Because after you guys said that, he went out and set a world record, and he's just kept going. So, what changed between 3 and 4 with this horse, or even 4 and 5?
I think it's growth and maturity. I mean, he's very particular about everything. He's very opinionated, and he really needed to learn and get serious about his job because he just needed that maturity and that growth. And now I think that he's finally getting to where he's like, okay, I know what my job is. I know who I am. I know I don't have to, you know, go directly to the front to, you know, be the boss. Like, you know, we got him to where he can rate now, which is awesome.
Yes.
The biggest thing is to trust him because he's a very smart horse. Like he knows what's up. So between now and then, I mean, he had a good break over the winter. We swam him a lot. I think swimming and water tread really, really helped him develop his muscles for, a better foundation. And also too, like initially we were still, running him on the dirt. It wasn't until that race Ellis that he finally ran on the grass.
Yep, that's true. And what
So,
happened that day? What happened?
and he broke the world record.
Yeah, that's something they'll never take away from him. That world record, it happened, and people will dismiss it. But how do you not know that the horses who set other records were not the beneficiary of speed biases or a lone pace leader? So there's all these different factors going on that. But I guess the point I want to bring up, he's still the world record. Nobody's broken it since, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Correct. Nobody's broken it since. Mm-mm.
That is awesome. And this year he's come out. He's won the Mighty Bow, which they should rename the Michelle Lovell because now she's won it 3 times.
Three
And
times.
and he's won the turf sprint at Indianapolis, the Indiana last. I can't remember the name, the John Cougar Corn Cob or something. But so he's on a roll this year as well. So Breeders' Cup is, yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking down the road, hopefully. And I'll tell you right now that if he gets there, he's legit. He's got a big ass chance.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I can't remember. He did the Mighty Bow actually in 55.01, and he just won the race at Indiana in 55 flat.
And he
So,
stumbled, and he stumbled that day.
and he stumbled that day. So, I mean, I really don't think that we've gotten to the bottom of this horse. I think that we have a lot more to see.
And he can rate. And you brought it up earlier, and I think it's a massive point that anytime these pure speed balls, especially in turf sprints, if you can teach them to rate, because these paces can be so suicidal, man, you've got something there. So it's got to be the world when word got back to the barn that he had set a world record. What was it like but not just you, not just for Michelle, for everybody? I mean, it's got to be a sense of pride, right?
It was incredible. It was incredible. And I mean, there was a lot of talk about trying to discredit it, like you previously mentioned,
Yeah.
there was a lot of talk of that. And when you know the horse, you know that it is possible. Like it was not out of the realm of possibilities for him because he is fast. And we know that. Like we won't take that away from him. But I think
Amen.
that it took him winning the Mighty Bow and setting another track record for Churchill Downs for it to really solidify, to be like, okay, this horse is, he's really something. We've got something here. And we already knew that, but I think that it took that for other people to take him more seriously.
100%. I'm going to let these guys talk now, but one thing about the world record is like at Ellis Park, he could have went faster. He wasn't pressured that day. I mean, if someone had eyeballed him, he'd have went faster. I mean, I think Brian Hernandez was on that day. If he'd been pushed, he could have went quicker. So I'll just leave it
Yeah.
at that. Right. So, all right, CC, you want to go?
Yes, sir. Erica,
Hey,
thank you.
Cece.
Thank you for doing this evening. Got some questions for you. You're a graduate of the North American Riding Academy, correct?
Yes, I am.
Tell us about that. That's kind of a brainchild of Chris McCarron, right?
It is, but it's actually evolved quite a bit. There's a very, very talented woman by the name of Dixie Kendall who is over the program now, and she has really, really revamped the program. It's not just a jockey school. It is a school that values learning horse racing from the ground up. So we're talking, from grooms to hot walkers to wanting to be in the breeding industry, veterinarian technicians, and then of course, riding. So I think that I'm really happy that you brought this up because this is something that Dixie's asked me about quite a bit is how do we get word out to the industry and to other people that we're producing quality employees for the industry. And it's possible to send people here to learn. And not only do you get to learn, but you get a college degree out of it. It is a college accredited course, So that's where I went. I learned how to gallop. And then they were able to give me the connections within the industry to actually get me into the industry because from a person on the outside looking in, I had no connections to anybody within the industry. And I just knew that I wanted in. And I found that school and I've talked to Dixie about it. And I was like, this is the best path for me to go. And they were able to, give that to me. Granted, I did have to work really, really hard to, get to where I am, but I wouldn't be anywhere near the horse person I am today without that foundation, because they did teach me how to work around racehorses. They did teach me how to put bandages on. They did teach me how to properly hot walk horses, know that, a horse gets their buckets and their buckets only, which you wouldn't believe how often that mistake is made for new people coming in. They don't realize that the importance of when you walk a horse, they are only allowed to drink out of their bucket. So I think it's really, really important for people to know that there is this school available to them to actually give them a good way into the industry.
It's based in Lexington, right?
It is based in Lexington, and it is part of the Bluegrass Community and Technical College system.
Right. Did you spend more time in the classroom or outside or what was the mixture of time spent?
It was 70% outside and 30% inside. So the majority of my classes were a introduction to racehorse care lab, which is us going out and actually taking care of the horses. And then the book work for the courses was mostly just learning parts of the horse, learning different rules of racing, how to read a condition book, how to read a racing form. They teach you all of that. So it was a pretty good balance of, really teaching us how to be around the horses and then also teaching us the bookwork part of the racing industry.
I think we found a job for Alan in retirement. He could be a teacher. He could teach students how to read a racing form.
Just the Brisnet, maybe the Brisnet. I don't know. The racing form's beyond me these days.
Oh,
Maybe I'll do that.
You could.
all right,
For
Erica.
sure.
Erica, what's the I don't know how I want to ask this. The lifestyle of a backstretch worker is probably a little bit different than most walks of life. It's just a different world. I mean, I wouldn't call it a bubble, but I mean, those people live and breathe horses and racing and lingo and terminology and all that. Is that, am I close to the mark there? It's just you're just in a different world.
Yes, very much so. When you have friends and family outside of the industry, they don't quite understand that horses are every day. You're not really replaceable. So, like, you are, but you're not. So, like, when you want to go on vacation or if you want to have days off, it's very, very difficult to find somebody to do the same job that you do. So, like, we'll take sorting mail, for example. Not taking anything away from sorting mail because I'm sure that it's very meticulous. But,
Yes, I get your point. I know where you're going. Go ahead.
right, but somebody else can step in and they're not going to really mess it up royally. And it's not a super dangerous job. And there's not like 800 steps to it. Whereas when you're in the racing industry, take a groom for example. They have a whole system of what they do every morning and how they do it. So like they clean their stalls, they wash, they rinse their horses legs off, and then they got to know how to saddle horses, and they have to, you know how to cool one out, know how to bathe one, know how to put, like, you get what I mean. Like there's a lot of steps to it. And then as a rider is even harder to find because you know you don't have an excess of riders just walking around looking for jobs that can do the same job and know the system as well as somebody that's already working for a trainer. So it's really, really hard to get away from it once you're in it, if that makes
Without
sense.
getting, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So, without getting super personal, what's your circle of friends like? I mean, is it mainly people within the industry or you got a mixture of everything?
I am very fortunate because I went to college first, and I have some really really good friends from college that I'm in contact with every day. They understand the lifestyle. They understand, what I can do and what I can't do. And but as far as the day to day, I have a few friends that are within the industry, and then like the people I consider the people at work my friends because I am with them more than anybody else. If that so like, and then obviously my husband, which it's great that we do the same thing right now because we get to actually hang out with each other. But otherwise, I don't get to see people very often outside of the industry. It is hard.
Right. Yeah. I sense that over the years, just
Hmm.
being around people that, yeah, it's a different world. It's like rotate. If you got out of the industry, it's rotating back into a different society altogether. But
Yeah.
talk about your job. What? So there's more to it than just getting on a horse and going real fast or galloping or just trotting along. I mean, you're providing feedback for the trainer as well, whether the horse is going well or if the horse is green or maybe you're sensing some type of limitations or whatever. But describe or recall some conversations you've had getting off a horse after a workout or after a gallop that where you're relaying information to the trainer. What type of conversations do you have if that makes any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So, on a good day, for example, if I'm riding a horse that I have no complaints about, I just say, yes, that horse went really well. I have no complaints. And we'll just continue on. Now, one of my specialties is feeling if a horse is starting to feel off somewhere. I'm very, very sensitive to it. And I take a lot of pride in it because at the first part of the day, like at my first thought is take care of the horse always. So if a horse does not feel right to me, I immediately, I go to plan B. And I am very fortunate enough that I work with Michelle, that Michelle trusts me enough to be like, okay, she does not like something. She changed it up today. And in that conversation, I would come back and I would say, I don't like the way that this horse went today. It feels like it might be A, B, or C. And I'll just say maybe we should have a look at it later, and like reevaluate. So because I'm given instructions before going onto the track on what I should do with the horse, what Michelle would like me to do with the horse. And then if everything goes great, if I like the way the horse is moving, then I proceed with what she wants me to do. And, and everything goes on. And then if I don't like the way the horse is moving, um, after I proceed or when I come back, I will let her know and say, hey, I don't like A, B, or C. But for the
Okay.
most part, we really like it when I come back and say, I don't feel a thing, everything's fine. That's
Yeah, that's
Michelle's favorite words. Everything is fine.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that. I remember a rider a long time ago. We had a friend he was just starting training horses. This is it back in the '90s, and the exercise rider would not tell him anything. And eventually, I think they had to beat it out of him because he finally said, "Yeah, the horse is not moving really well. He hadn't been moving well for a long time." They said, "Why didn't you tell us this weeks ago?" He said, "I was afraid you'd take me off the horse." It's like, no, no,
Jeez.
no, that's not
Jeez.
right. That's not the way we're doing it here. We want the horse to to thrive. So,
Yeah,
but
and I mean that I have heard of that happening as well, but I don't care. Quite honestly, like
right,
again, I put the horse first. I like you can take me off of it, but I'm going to tell you my opinion every single time. Like you're going to get a very very thorough opinion about, if I don't like something because I care about the horse. If and you know what, if the horse isn't right, it's not going to run right. It's not going to run well, and
right,
there's no point in, running a horse that, isn't ready. So
Right.
I take a lot of pride in making sure that the horses are ready to go and they feel great before we run them.
Okay, last question from me. Your first win as a jockey, generally the rider gets doused by the other jockeys in the colony with different things, shaving cream, water, spaghetti sauce, you name it. Did you get the ceremonial bath? And if so, what was part of the cocktail?
Oh, I
Yeah.
definitely did. I definitely got doused. And it's really funny because you asked that because on our way back through the tunnel at Churchill, this was before the new paddock was built. um, Jimmy Graham came running up to me and he was like, "Give me your vest." And I was like, "Why do you need my vest?" He's like, "You know what? Take your boots off too. Just, vest, boots, take it off." I was like, okay. And then Joe's like, "Oh, I forgot about this." And he's like, "Oh, they're going to get you." I was like, okay. And I got doused with buckets of water as I was coming up the stairs to the jocks room. I There's a video of it, of water just being like dumped over the balcony onto the top of me. I got baby powder, I got eggs,
Oh
um,
wow.
lots of eggs. Like they cracked them into a cup and like stirred them up and like poured them on top of my head. Like like, I think that I had baby powder in my nose for 2 days at least. Like, but it was so cool to be, introduced into a jockey colony that way.
Perfect.
Like,
Yeah.
it was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. But
Man.
that's something I'll never forget is Jimmy Graham coming up to me and be like, "Give me your vest." I'm like, "Why do you need my vest?"
I'd say if Jimmy Graham's walking toward you, he's up to no good. Period.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here?
Great
So
guy though. Great guy.
great guy. I appreciate it because getting eggs out of a vest would not have been fun.
Right. Right.
So I did really, really appreciate it. And he's, a big part of that memory that day. So that and Charlie, the guy, I can't remember his last name, but he works up in the room, for the Clark. I think he might be the Clark of Scales now. But I gave him a hug that day too, and he always jokes with me about, my last name because I always tell people, it's not her third drink, it's her fourth. So that is like his thing. Every time he sees me, he says that joke to me, and he's like, "That's how I remember who you are." And I was like, "You know what? That's great."
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, yeah. That's people remember me by my last name, Broaddus. That's the only way they can remember me. But, all right, Jeff Riggs, take over, babe.
That's a tough act to follow there, CC. But hey, Erica, what's going on? Good to talk to you tonight. I appreciate you joining us for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. It's great to be here.
yeah, you said earlier that coming into the industry, you didn't really have any connections to the industry, but it seems like you started pretty much right out of school. Have you always been interested in horse racing, and like, was your family interested in the sport?
Actually, no. My first horse race ever. Okay, so I went to the track for the first time in high school through a club type of field trip. And then my first horse race, I was in college and I went to Puerto Rico for spring break. And the first horse race I ever went to was in Puerto Rico.
Oh
And
wow.
then I know that's crazy. Um, um, which is absolutely fantastic because Doncho's owners, he's Puerto Rican and I love them to death. He's awesome. But and I tell him that I was like, the first time I went to a horse race was in Puerto Rico, and he's like, "Yeah, that's awesome." But what really, really, reeled me in was, I went to all three Triple Crown races the year that American Pharoah won,
Oh yeah, that'll
and
hook you.
it hooked me. It hooked me. I had great seats for all three races. I remember there's a picture of me that I have on my Instagram of me and my friends standing out on the rail. It was pouring the rain right before the Preakness that year. I was standing in the rain. I was like, I'm ready for this race. And then just the roar of the crowd at the Belmont. Holy cow. it was just amazing to be that close to history being made. So I was hooked. I That was 2015, and I graduated from Marshall University in May of 2016 and applied. I was supposed to apply to law schools. That did not happen. And and I applied to the jockey school instead, got accepted, and started that August.
Wow. So it really was just a short period of time when you decided this is what I want to do, and then it was just full on, heads down, I'm all in at that point, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, I should mention I grew up with horses. Like I grew up
Yeah.
with trail horses, and I grew up showing American saddlebreds. So I was no stranger to riding horses, but I did know that I liked going fast. I've always been a daredevil for the speed of things. So I just thought that it was a very good combination. Horses, speed. I mean, what could go wrong? So
Exactly. That's great. That's great. Well, I know you mentioned earlier how you spent some time in Australia longer than you wanted to. It sounds like you kind of got stuck there for a while. But I think you spent some time in England too. I was just kind of wondering how different racing is from the US in each of those places. And I guess some pros and cons maybe.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is fan base.
Hmm.
I think the fan base in those two other countries is a lot bigger. Like they take a lot more pride, as a country. Granted, it's hard because America is so large that it's hard to, really get people to gather around a sport. But if you think about the population sizes between Australia and England, they're quite comparable compared to the US.
Right.
So like I think my favorite part about those racing industries is that their fans really, really rally around those horses, and they love those horses, and they bet months in advance. As soon as a racing form comes out for, a race that's coming up, like big stakes races, they start betting on horses that could be entered in the race. They start betting on horses that are entered in the race, like as soon as they know, like it's they really, really follow it, and I really, really appreciated that. And like when I was in Australia during COVID, that's like what kept the people going, because they didn't
Right.
have anything else. Nothing else was going, like no other sport was being played. Everything, the horse racing industry boomed because it was the only thing happening. So that's the biggest takeaway on that part. Now, as far as employee part goes, it was a lot harder to work over there. And as far, from a rider's perspective, because you're not just the rider. Here you ride horses, you set your tack, you clean your tack, and then you go home, and then you're good for the day. Over there, you come in, like Australia, the start time, you had to be there at 3:30, and you were on a horse by 3:50, and you were on the track at 4 a.m. So as it was a lot earlier, and then after you rode, you had your three horses that you had to groom and take care of, and then you had to come back in the afternoon and at feed time and clean stables and do everything else. And it was the same in England. You had your horses, you had to go and tack yourself, you had to groom them yourself, and then you had to bathe them and everything yourself as a rider. So as a employee perspective, those industries were a lot harder to work in because they expected a lot more from you, and you actually got
Mm.
paid less.
Oh, wow.
But over there, they do calculate time off. So like you get 30 days a year of vacation time in the horse racing industry in England, and then for
Okay.
every hour that you work in Australia, you accumulate days of vacation time. They don't do that
Interesting.
in the US. So structure is very different as far as the setup of, how they do things over there, and
Yeah, you might not have to work on your the morning of your wedding reception over there, probably, huh?
exactly, you can take that off.
Exactly.
Granted, here's my problem. I say that, like, I wouldn't take the day off anyway. So
Yeah. No, you want to be there. I know. I know.
I want to be there because it's kind of like it takes one bad day to mess a horse up
Hmm.
and then 4 months to fix it.
Right.
So, I have horses that I take a lot of pride in, and I'm like, please don't let anybody else ride them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I mean, speaking of that, you talked about, of course, Doncho, how, he's probably the best horse you've ever been on and how you really connect with him. Do you have any other horses either now or currently that you just really connect with? Because I mean, you're with these horses all the time. So you have to know the ins and outs and everything about them.
Yeah, there's a few. I'm like I said, I am a horse lover, so I'm a sucker for my favorites. We have a few, two that come to mind. He's ran one time. His name is Storm in the Beach. He
Uh-huh.
was a 2 year old 2 years ago. He's coming 4 year old now. Um, and I've ridden him for since he was two. So he's definitely by far one of the favorites. And then we have another horse named Debt Paid,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just love him
Hey, I've
because of
heard of
his
that horse.
personality.
I know that horse.
I love that horse.
Erica, I know that horse well. That's a friend of mine owns that horse.
Oh my gosh, I would
And
take that horse home with me in a
we
heartbeat. You don't
we're,
understand.
we're dying to find a race for this. I know the race he was supposed to run next Sunday, and the race didn't fill. That's
Yeah,
useless
yeah.
information, but I'm just passing along.
I
Um,
know, I know. I think that I love him. And I have loved him since we've had, and I think we've had him since he was a 2 year old as well.
yes.
And I will, as soon as he is ready to retire, I want to bring him home with me. So well,
I'm
he still has his racing to do, but I want to take him home with me.
Yeah. Way down the road after he wins a bunch more races, right?
Yes,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and talking about working with these horses from when they were really young too, it seems like you have a really good feel with the younger horses. Is that something you enjoy working with them as they're kind of figuring things out and teaching them and then seeing them develop from there?
Yes, and I think that that's why I made a terrible jockey. Is because is because I think too much and I'm more worried about how a horse is going, how a horse is carrying themselves, how a horse does things and how it develops than I am of how fast it can go.
Yeah.
So I really do enjoy, you know, the building blocks it takes to make a racehorse. So starting from the ground up, a horse doesn't know how to quite use its bodies. Like they don't know how to run yet. Their legs are, when they set them down, they're setting them down in a different state every time. And, you have to teach them where to put their legs and, lead changes and then how to go fast. And I love when the light bulb clicks and they're just like, oh, okay, we like doing this. This is fun. And that's when you get excited about them and, where then you can start figuring out like, where will they run? Are they grass? Are they dirt? What distance are they going to run? And I really, really like the challenge of figuring that stuff out with them. And it's great. And, just watching them learn and figure it out is great.
Oh yeah, that has to be super rewarding for sure. Um, I know that Alan probably has a couple more questions for you, so I'll turn you back over to him in a second. But I did want to ask because, like, you already sung the praises of Michelle, which we echo those sentiments as well. We think she's wonderful. But and you two obviously work well together. How did you originally get connected with her?
So I had just come back from Palm Meadows. I spent the winter in Palm Meadows, and I wasn't really interested in rekindling my jockey career, and I was just trying to find a place to work at Churchill Downs. And I had spoken to several other people, and I actually had come in and rode a few for Michelle, just breezing horses in the morning for her when I was breezing horses to race ride. And I saw her one day out grazing Elwood, and I
Mm-hmm.
just approached her and I was like, "Hey, do you need another rider?" And she hired me, and that was it. I never left.
Wow, well, that's awesome. Hey, just
Yeah.
those opportunities are out there, right? If you just go and you just have to take them.
Yeah, and I was looking for I know Michelle's character. She's so nice and she's so kind, and I am the type of person that needs somebody to be kind to me because I am very I wouldn't call it emotional, but like I'm soft-hearted.
Yeah.
So I do better when I don't have people like if you're mad at me, I'm not going to do well. But if you have confidence in me, then I'm going to do well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
And that's kind of what led me to really be like, okay, I'm going to ask her.
Very cool. Well, it definitely seems like it's turned out into something good. All right. Well, appreciate it, Eric. I'll turn it back over to Alan. I know he's got a couple more things for you.
One
Perfect.
big
Thank
one.
you so much.
I got one big one. We've intentionally buried the lead on this. We were waiting to the end to bring this up, but after we've done all this celebration and retrospective of both Doncho and Erica Herrforth Rushlow, there's something big in your future coming up very, very shortly. You're moving on, right? To explore other one big avenue, right? Tell the world. Well, the world is a bit of a stretch for this podcast, but tell people that what's next for Erica, and it's happening very, very soon.
It is happening very soon. So, back in February, I applied to graduate school to become a middle school science teacher. I got accepted, and I part of my program is to find a job teaching, and I did. And so, starting at the end of this month, I will be semi-retiring from horse racing and becoming a sixth grade science teacher. I say
Awesome.
semi-retiring because you can't get rid of me.
Of course, of course.
So I'll be back.
Sixth grade science teacher at the end of this month here in Louisville, right?
Yes, here in Louisville. So I get to be close to everybody still. And, I get to still come and visit Doncho when I want to give him some peppermints. So, yeah.
So well before we go, let's explain this. So is there what are the emotions? Is it excitement? Are you tentative at all? Are you gonna miss this community that you've been a part of for so long or whatever? I mean, what are you feeling right now? Because I'm sure the emotions are. You got a couple weeks. I'm sure it's gonna be bubbling over a little bit, right?
I feel like I've gone through the 5 stages of grief, to be completely honest with you.
Your
it's been it's been
acceptance right
really
now.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been really hard to like relinquish things, because I do take a lot of pride in, being at work and pride in the horses. And um I worked really, really hard to get to where I am. And it's just something that it's not something that I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't like doing this at all. Like I can't wait to get out of here. I'm so excited because that's just not the case. It's just something that I need to do to help my body out. Have a backup plan for,
Hmm.
it's time. So I'm not going to be like completely gone, but it is going to be really, really good for my future because I did need to think about my future when it comes to, how I want my life to play out. So it's, it's going to be good. It's going to
It
be hard
is.
though. It's like ripping the band-aid off. It's not
Yeah.
easy. And I told Michelle about this back in April. So we've had a lot of time to prepare for it. And, but it didn't make it any easier, like at all.
Understood.
So, but I am very, very excited to teach sixth grade science. I think I'm going to be great at it. And, but I definitely think that I'll still have my toe in the door,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I can tell you right now, I am confident because one of the reasons I told you years ago I wanted to have you on this podcast because I've heard you speak exceptionally well. You're remarkably intelligent, and it's going to be cool to be able to tell these kids that you used to work the world record holder, right? You can open up their eyes to that side of the world too, right? And that's gonna be you can share some pretty good stories with these kids.
Yes, absolutely. I think the biggest point that I want to get across to kids is that no matter who you are or where you come from, your dreams are possible. If you put your mind to it and you work hard enough at it, you can get to where you achieve your goals. Because at the end of the day, I have no regrets about my career in the racing industry. I've achieved my goals.
Hmm.
So it's just one of those things where like I really, really want children to understand that the sky is the limit. I mean, there's a lot of low income students. There's, kids that have everything given to them, but at the end of the day, they still have to work hard no matter where they come from.
Right on.
So I really want to emphasize that. And I think that my stories I hope can, provide some insight and encourage them to, dream a little bigger, because you can always dream a little bit bigger.
Very well said. Very well said. Erica, you're going to be fantastic at your new profession. You're fantastic in your old profession. The kids are going to be very fortunate to have you. The middle school I know you're going to is going to be very fortunate to have you, and we're fortunate to have you on tonight. So I'm glad we had this. Is when I first booked this, didn't know about the teaching profession, so this actually worked out really really well. So we appreciate it, and ladies and gentlemen, that is Erica Herrforth Rushlow. Thank you again, Erica.
Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Two things before we sign off. The Indiana Derby was over the weekend, won by a horse named Leading Change for Brad Cox, Wathnan Racing. Very impressive in just his second start. He won the Indiana Derby. I want to pinpoint the second place finisher, our money man, for Brett Calhoun, a son of Mr. Money, who won the Indiana Derby. Had a troubled trip this year, and only lost to the big horse by like a neck or half length or something like that. Our money man, like I said, he's by Mr. Money out of a mare named Lipstick Junkie. The guys from Madisonville, Allied Racing, own the horse.
Audi right? Am I right about that?
No, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but he used to train for the Allied folks. But Calhoun's getting a lot of their horses now. Anyway, this horse sold at auction at the Fasig-Tipton July Selected Horses of Racing Age sale today. Y'all want to take a stab at what this horse brought?
Mr. Moneyman, the Indiana Derby
Our
runner-up.
money man.
Our money man.
Our money
Ran
man.
second to Further Due, 2 starts back,
Uh-huh.
and then almost knocked off
600,000.
Jeff.
Man,
I think he's a good horse. He's
I
a good
just don't know
horse.
what the going rate is for these horses, but I would say, I mean, potentially even over that. I'm going to go 750.
Yep, you're both wrong. I'm going to sell both of you at auction and throw a saddle over both of your backs. $2 million for our money.
Whoa.
Shit, really?
Whoa.
He's by Mr. Money? He's by Mr. Money? Lipstick Junkie?
Mm-hmm.
That means that at least two people thought this horse was worth $1.9 million.
Wow.
I mean, I think he's a really good horse, and he's going to make money. He's going to compete in these smaller derbies.
Sure,
He'll
yeah,
probably
but he's past the Triple Crown season and everything. So
he's going to make money as an older horse and stuff too.
Yeah.
He's like that. It could be blossom like Cornhusker type horse. Or
Yeah, okay.
But
regardless, what he's not going to win $2 million, is he? Think of everything that
I
has to go
can't
right.
imagine. I can't imagine.
And he has no value as a stallion.
Yeah, that's what's weird, that there's no value as a stallion. I mean, maybe there is in a smaller jurisdiction, an Indiana or a Louisiana or something like that or whatever, but that is weird.
Yeah, but even the fees for that are lower too, so that's going to take a long time to make that money back.
Agreed.
But yeah, I do have one piece of trivia for you all though. You're talking about how our money man ran second. Mr. Money won the Indiana Derby. Do you all remember who actually crossed the wire first in that Indiana Derby that Mr. Money
The
won?
Brilliant Horse, right?
I do remember Eskin for it.
Eskin for it. That's right. The first ever Brilliant Racing horse.
Yep.
Through the jockey, right?
Yep. Tossed the jockey at the break, but crossed the line first.
Amazing.
Yep. One final note on our money man's new owner is the KAS stable, which is part of King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz and his sons.
Man, there's nothing like CC pronouncing names.
Right? King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz.
Yep.
I think he guys from maybe Oldham County or Trimble County, Kentucky.
Maybe. So.
Trailer park out in Shively.
Last thing, y'all watch the World Cup?
Yes, I've been obsessed with the World Cup.
I watched the first half when USA got beat. I don't know anything about soccer. I don't pretend to, but I know it's exciting.
I don't know anything about soccer, but I mean, I have when it's on. I don't go to watch the games, but if I know that it's on and I don't have anything to do, I'll flip it on because it is exciting. And I'm not a soccer guy, but I do enjoy it. It sounds like Jeff really likes it.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell it's elite athleticism, even if you're not a big soccer fan, and just it's such a cool thing with just like all the nations and like people traveling from halfway across the world and just how into everything everybody is, and seeing all the stuff online about people coming to America for the first time and being just blown away by like a Bucky's and a Waffle House and just like how different it is from everything. So it's been cool. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. My issue, and boy, I've noticed this online. If you mention something that a problem you have with the rules, well, you'll put in your place real quick. I cannot get past committing a penalty and then you get a free kick, basically a 15-foot free kick between you and the goalie. And I find an issue with that. Even in like basketball, you got to commit 7 fouls before you get a free throw and things like that. I just have a problem with that. But apparently that's, the rest of the world sees no
Yeah.
problem with it.
I don't understand how they don't when the game ends. It's like, oh, so
Yeah,
I,
that too, and I've seen a lot of people get put in their place over that. It's like, well, everybody else thinks it's all right, so it's mind your own business. I was like, okay,
what else?
yeah, that seems like the simple thing you could do when the clock strikes 90 minutes. Like, put the timer on the clock so we know for sure.
Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, just
Next time I
guessing.
bet a horse, can I just
Yeah.
let the race go as long as it wants till he finally catches, till he finally gets to the front?
Right,
you know?
right, right,
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. I'm not a soccer expert by any means, but the two changes I would make are put more refs on the field so that they can see more and there's less like, you know, people all the theatrics and everything. And secondly, call what they call simulation more, where it's basically flopping. And give them a yellow card if they flop and roll around on the ground like they've been shot. Because every single time somebody gets touched, they are crying in pain. Like you have to be an actor to be a soccer player to be successful, and they do it because it works. So if they just make those two little changes, I think I would get way into soccer.
right. They kind of do that. That spilled over into basketball and football, right? In a
Yeah,
way.
it's getting there too. Yeah, but
Yeah.
the theatrics are just on another level in soccer.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we sign off?
I'll do it. Thanks to Erica, Herrforth Rushlow.
Yep. Yep. It's on. All right. Okay. That's it. On behalf of our guest, as Alan says, Erica, Herrforth Rushlow, Alan Schneider, Jeff Riggs, and a cast of thousands all over the world, I'm CC Broaddus reminding you that gambling money ain't got no home. Good night.